Chosen one. There is a specific kind of silence that frightens a predator. It isn't the silence of submission, nor is it the silence of fear. It is the heavy, absolute quiet of a soul that sees right through them. For most of your life, you have probably wondered why certain people, specifically those with an insatiable need for control, validation, and masks, seem so intensely committed to breaking you. You walked into rooms with nothing but love in your heart, yet you were met with unprovoked hostility, subtle sabotage, and smear campaigns. You blamed yourself. You thought that if you just loved them a little better, if you explained yourself a little clearer, they would finally see you. But you were looking at the situation through human eyes, while they were reacting to you on a spiritual level. They did not hate you because of your flaws. They hated you because of your architecture. You carry a dangerous gift, a divine frequency so sharp that it doesn't just disrupt the narcissist's game, it threatens to shatter their entire fabricated reality. Long before you even realized who you were, their darkness recognized your light. And today, we are going to pull back the curtain on exactly what that gift is and why it makes them shake with fear. To understand why you terrify a narcissist, you must first understand what a narcissist actually is beneath the towering wall of smoke and mirrors they present to the world. They are not genuinely strong, nor are they truly secure. They are individuals who have experienced a profound psychological fracture, choosing to bury their authentic self beneath a labyrinth of grandiosity and fabrication. They survive by consuming a very specific diet of validation, forced submission, and illusion, turning their social circles into stages where everyone is required to read from their script. They cannot tolerate reality because reality demands accountability, and accountability is the one thing their fragile ego cannot survive. Then, without any intention of causing conflict, you walk into their carefully curated world. The primary gift of a chosen one is rarely something you actively do, or a weapon you consciously wield. It is embedded entirely within the fabric of your baseline frequency. You possess what can only be described as the gift of the divine mirror. Because your spirit has been forged in the fires of authenticity and deep introspection, your very existence radiates a crystalline truth that refuses to bend, warp, or compromise for the sake of artificial comfort. When a narcissist interacts with an ordinary, unawakened person, they see a clean slate, a screen upon which they can project whatever heroic or victimized image of themselves they choose. But when their gaze meets yours, the projection machine jams. Your energy field does not accept the false transmission. Instead, it acts as a flawless, unyielding piece of spiritual glass. When they look at you, they do not see the majestic mask they spent years building. They are forced to look at the raw, unfiltered image of their own internal decay, their buried shame, and the hollow emptiness they flee from every single day. What makes this gift so dangerous and so deeply terrifying to them is that it requires absolutely no effort or confrontation on your part. You do not have to argue with them, point out their lies, or raise your voice to expose their contradictions. You could simply be sitting across the room, quietly sipping your tea, observing the environment with calm, undisturbed, and discerning eyes. Because you are not absorbing their emotional bait, the heavy weight of their toxic projections bounces directly off your spiritual armor and lands heavily back onto their own shoulders. This mechanical failure of their manipulation tactics triggers an immediate visceral state of psychological panic within the narcissist. They begin to notice that the tools that have worked on everyone else for decades, the subtle guilt trips, the dramatic love bombing, the twisting of words, and the invisible gaslighting, are completely sliding off you without leaving a scratch. To an entity that derives its entire sense of existence from controlling how others perceive them, being seen without a mask feels like a psychological execution. They perceive your quiet discernment not as peace, but as a silent trial where they have already been found guilty. They realize, on a subconscious level, that they are dealing with someone who cannot be bought with cheap flattery and cannot be intimidated by manufactured chaos. Your gift of truth strips away their camouflage, leaving them feeling naked and exposed in a winter storm of their own making. This is why their initial curiosity toward you quickly curdles into a desperate, frantic hatred. They are shaking with fear because they know that as long as you are standing in that room, their illusions are in imminent danger of completely dissolving. Narcissists are, by their very evolutionary design, energetic parasites who operate on a deficit of internal light. Because they have disconnected themselves from their own divine core, they cannot generate intrinsic joy, genuine peace, or authentic self-worth from within. To maintain their grand architecture, they must hunt for external sources of life force energy, targeting high vibrational individuals, empaths, and spiritually awakened souls. They view your kindness, your deep capacity for empathy, and your emotional depth not as virtues to be respected, but as a goldmine to be systematically plundered and strip-mined for their own sustenance. If you look back at your history, you will likely remember a painful chapter where you allowed this extraction process to happen without understanding the dynamics at play. You gave until your bones ached, you bled your light into their endless void, and you constantly apologized for shortages you didn't create, thinking your love could heal what was fundamentally broken. But the dangerous gift within a chosen one is not designed to let you remain a victim forever. It features an evolutionary firewall built by the divine that activates precisely when you reach your absolute breaking point. Once you transition through the dark night of your soul and step fully into your spiritual awakening, a fundamental restructuring occurs within your energetic DNA. You begin to develop an almost supernatural sharpness of discernment, the ability to see the heavy iron hook of provocation long before it ever reaches your emotional waters. When the narcissist steps up to play their usual games, expecting the same old reactive patterns that used to drain you, your gift activates an iron curtain of complete psychological detachment. You stop participating in the tennis match of their chaos. You step off the court entirely. When you offer them a cold, unbothered, and entirely neutral silence instead of the chaotic emotional reaction they desperately need to harvest, you effectively starve them of their food supply. A narcissist needs your anger, your tears, your frantic explanations, or your defensive arguments to feel powerful and validated. Your distress is the fuel that keeps their engine running. When you deny them that fuel, replacing it with an impenetrable wall of absolute indifference, you force them to starve in the desert of their own making. This refusal to be consumed causes a massive tectonic shift in how they perceive you. They realize that you are no longer a compliant well they can pump for free emotional energy. You have become an absolute fortress whose keys they will never possess. They watch your calm face and realize that no matter how hard they slam against your walls, they cannot leave a dent, nor can they poison the deep waters of your inner peace. This realization produces an existential dread within them that they cannot shake. They are accustomed to breaking people, to twisting souls into shapes that serve their needs, and to leaving their victims hollowed out and dependent. To encounter a soul that not only repairs itself after the attack, but develops a total, permanent immunity to their venom is their ultimate nightmare. They shake with fear because they are looking at an unharvestable field, an untamable force that reminds them of their absolute powerlessness. There is a highly pervasive and toxic myth in the modern world that being a chosen, spiritually advanced soul means you must function as a professional doormat for the wickedness of others. The world likes to preach a sterilized version of spirituality that demands you remain perpetually soft, smiling through abuse, and swallowing your truth under the guise of toxic positivity and endless forgiveness. But true spiritual power is never cowardly. It possesses both the nurturing, life-giving gentleness of a quiet stream and the terrifying, cleansing roar of an uncontainable wildfire. Your dangerous gift carries within it a fierce, unyielding quality of divine disruption. When you are placed by destiny into an environment that is deeply rotten with deceit, silent manipulation, and predatory behavioral patterns, whether that is a multi-generational, toxic family tree, a highly corporate, backstabbing workplace, or a shallow social circle, your light cannot simply blend in. It automatically acts as a destabilizing agent against the established status quo, radiating an energetic frequency that makes hidden rot rise violently to the surface. Narcissists almost always rule their tiny kingdoms through the deployment of unspoken rules, manufactured fear, and systemic intimidation. They train everyone around them to walk on eggshells, forcing others to pretend that the elephant in the room does not exist and that the emperor is wearing the finest clothes. But as a chosen one, you suffer from an organic spiritual inability to bow your head to false authority or participate in communal delusion. Even when you consciously try to stay quiet, keep your head down, and fit into the mold, your spirit physically rebels against the compliance. You are the one who asks the simple, devastating question that everyone else in the room has been terrified to voice for years. You are the one who looks at the injustice and refuses to laugh at the cruel joke, refuses to nod along with the smear campaign, and refuses to sign your name to the lie. You do not do this out of an egoic desire to cause trouble or create drama. You do it because your soul experiences literal suffocation when forced to breathe in an environment saturated with systematic deception. This unbending commitment to reality makes you an existential threat to the narcissist's entire survival strategy. You are the wild card they can neither predict, buy off, nor control through conventional psychological warfare. They look at your independent mind and realize with absolute horror that you do not need their validation, you do not fear their exile, and you cannot be integrated into their collective matrix of manipulation. They know that if the people around them stop to listen to your perspective for even a fraction of a second, the entire house of cards they built on a foundation of lies will collapse into dust. They do not just fear losing your personal respect, they fear your presence because your courage is highly contagious. They shake with fear because they recognize that you carry the exact spark that could cause the oppressed souls around them to wake up, rise up, and tear down their fraudulent throne. Perhaps the most terrifying aspect of your gift, the one that causes the narcissist the most intense, unseen, and sleepless agony, is the hidden company you keep. When a toxic individual looks at you with their physical eyes, they make the fatal mistake of assuming they are merely dealing with a solitary, sensitive, and isolated human being who can be easily crushed. They see your kindness and mistake it for weakness. They see your quiet nature and assume you have no army. They are completely blind to the fact that you are a highly protected vessel, backed by the full, crushing weight of divine justice and ancestral authority. When people with narcissistic and predatory spirits launch an attack against a chosen one, they are not just engaging in a petty earthly disagreement. They are committing an act of spiritual trespassing against a higher domain. They do not realize that the moment they attempt to dim your light or destroy your destiny, they are triggering an ancient, invisible security system that has been monitoring your life since the day you were born. Your life is not an open field where anyone can throw garbage. It is sacred ground. Have you ever stepped back from your life and noticed the mysterious, mathematically precise pattern of what happens to the people who try to destroy you? Over time, without you ever seeking revenge, without you lifting a single finger, casting a shadow of malice, or speaking a bitter word, their structures begin to inexplicably fracture. They experience sudden, catastrophic financial downturns, chaotic disruptions in their close relationships, and public exposures that strip away their dignity. This is not because you are operating as a dark sorcerer. It is because your gift is directly tethered to the unyielding law of absolute return. Because you have allowed your own suffering to purify your intentions, and because you choose to walk through the muck of this world with a clean heart and iron integrity, the universe takes your defense personally. When a narcissist hurls a weapon of malice, a weapon of slander, or a spear of envy at you, it finds absolutely no open wounds or corresponding malice in your clean energy field to attach itself to. Because it cannot land on you, by universal, cosmic law, that destructive energy cannot simply vanish into thin air. It must loop back to its origin. The narcissist is then forced to swallow the very poison they mixed for your cup, experiencing the exact isolation, ruin, and chaos they wished upon your life. They begin to sense this heavy cosmic blowback long before it completely manifests in the physical world. They feel an inexplicable shift in the very atmosphere of the room whenever they try to scheme against you. A sudden coldness, a heavy weight in their chest, an intuitive dread that whispers to them that they are playing a game they cannot win. This deep internal dread is the exact reason why they experience an irrational panic in your presence. They recognize, even if their conscious mind refuses to admit it, that your protection is unbreakable and your justice is automated. They shake with fear because they realize that every arrow they shoot at your soul isn't just missing the target, it is turning around in mid-air, pointed directly at their own chest. Chosen ones. So, if you are currently dealing with a narcissist who is obsessively trying to smear your name, isolate you, or make you doubt your sanity, breathe. Step back from the battlefield. You do not need to fight someone who is already fighting a losing war against their own shadow. They are not attacking you because you are weak. They are attacking you because your light is a reminder of everything they threw away. Your dangerous gift is simply this: you are real, you are whole, and you belong to the truth. Walk with your head high. Keep your heart pure, but keep your boundaries made of iron. You were not chosen to be a victim to their darkness. You were chosen to show the world that light will always have the final say. Thank you for walking this path with me today. If this message resonated with your spirit and gave you the clarity you needed, please consider subscribing to Wisdom Path. Join our community of awakened souls, leave a comment sharing your journey below, and share this video with someone who needs to remember who they truly are. Until next time, guard your peace, trust your gift, and keep moving forward on your highest path. Stay blessed.